Namaste. In the grand palace of King Akbar, there was a wise and devoted courtier whose name was Birbal. Known for his wisdom, Birbal often meditated upon God and encouraged the king to do the same. One day, intrigued yet slightly skeptical, King Akbar asked Birbal, "You always urge me to meditate on God, so tell me, where is God? How can I see him? And what does he do?" These were deep, thought-provoking questions. Birbal, recognizing their significance, responded, "Your Majesty, I will need a week to give you the answers." 6 days passed, and Birbal was still searching for the answers. On the 7th day, his son noticed how troubled his father looked and asked, "Father, what is bothering you?" Birbal explained the 3 questions posed by the king. His son, with a confident smile, said, "Is that all? Don't worry, father. I can answer them." Surprised, Birbal asked, "You? How can you answer such difficult questions?" The boy replied, "I cannot explain it now. Just take me to the king, and I will answer him directly." Intrigued, Birbal took his son to the palace. With respect, he told the king, "Your Majesty, my son here will answer your questions." King Akbar, surprised and amused, looked at the boy and said, "These are difficult questions. Do you really think you could answer them?" The boy, unshaken, responded, "I will do my best, Your Majesty." Amused, the king said, "All right, young man, let me hear your answers." Before responding, the boy smiled and said, "O king, in our tradition, it is customary to offer something to eat or something to drink to a guest when they enter your home." Slightly embarrassed, King Akbar asked, "What would you like?" The boy answered, "A bowl of milk, please." When the milk was brought, the boy dipped his finger into it as if searching for something. Curious, the king asked, "What are you doing? Is something wrong with the milk?" The boy replied, "I have heard that milk contains butter, but I cannot see any." The king, now amused, explained, "Milk does contain butter, but it must go through a process which is boiling, then collecting the cream, and finally churning it to extract the butter." The boy smiled and said, "Your Majesty, this answers your first 2 questions. God is everywhere, just like butter is hidden in the milk. And just as you need a process to extract butter, you must go through the spiritual practices, like the 8 stages of yoga, to perceive God. With discipline and effort, one can experience the Almighty within the heart." Impressed, the king said, "Well done, young man. You have answered my first 2 questions. Now, tell me, what does God do?" The boy looked at him and asked, "Are you asking as a teacher or as a disciple?" The king, smiling, replied, "As a disciple, of course." The boy then remarked, "You are a strange disciple, Your Majesty. Your teacher stands on the ground while you sit on a throne." Understanding the boy's point, King Akbar stepped down from the throne, lifted the child, and placed him on the royal seat. Then he asked again, "Now, tell me, what does God do?" The boy, smiling once more, said, "This is exactly what God does, O king. He raises those who are at the bottom to exalted heights, and he humbles those who are at the top." Now, my friends, this story beautifully illustrates the metaphor of butter in milk. Just as butter is hidden in milk, God is omnipresent, but He is invisible. Only through proper spiritual practices can we perceive Him. It reminds us of God's presence everywhere and how He works within both the universe and in each one of us. Namaste.